Dease Lake is a small community located in the Cassar country of the northern interior of British Columbia, Canada. It is located a few hours south of the Yukon border on Stewart-Cassar Highway, Highway 37, at the south end of the lake of the same name. Dease Lake is the last major center before the Alaska Highway while driving northbound, and also the junction to Telegraph Creek and the Grand Canyon of the Stikine. Dease Lake Indian Reserve No. 9 is located nearby and is under the governance of the Tahltan First Nation Band government. The town sits astride a drainage divide separating the basins of the Dease River, N, from that of the Tanzila, S, a tributary of the Stikine. As this is a division point between drainage to the Pacific Ocean, via the Stikine, and the Arctic Ocean, via the Laird and Mackenzie rivers, this is part of the Continental Divide. The town has a school, various stores, a fuel and service station, hotel, and a Northern Lights College campus. It used to have a restaurant and a pub, but both have closed. The town sees a large influx of visitors during the summer months from tourists on their way to the Alaska Highway, Yukon, and Alaska. A majority of these tourists are from Canada or the United States. Dease Lake is also a destination for hunting and other wilderness activities, and the local economy benefits from local gold, copper, and jade mining and exploration activities. In 1837 a Hudson's Bay Company post, known as Lake House, was created by Robert Campbell on the shore of Dease Lake about 50 kilometers, 31 miles, north of the Stikine River and 150 kilometers, 93 miles, south of where the present-day Alaska Highway passes. The lake had been named in 1834 for Chief Factor Peter Warren Dease, and would become a major junction for miners traveling to the gold rush in Cassar, later an asbestos mine. Although the fort was abandoned soon after, the town based around the fort lived on, and was renamed Dease Lake in 1934 by then Chief Trader John McLeod. During the 1960s and 1970s, BC Rail started to build an extension of their line towards Dease Lake, but construction was halted. Grading was completed all the way, and can still be seen from the air at 58 degrees 3 N 129 degrees 49 W. The Dease River, from Dease Lake to Laird River, used to be one of the most important water highways in the province, and saw its last great use during the construction of the Alaska Highway. Nowadays, the river is experiencing a bit of a renaissance, as paddlers discover this 265-kilometer waterway. It's mostly Class L and LL, with some Class LLL rapids. Expect to take about 7 days to complete the one-way paddle. Fishing, Broad Dease Lake and Curvaceous Boy Lake offer angling for char and a variety of northern specialties, burbot and whitefish. Dease River, which flows north from Dease Lake through Boy Lake Provincial Park, and north to the Laird River, has good grayling fishing. Access is from the town of Dease Lake, from pullouts beside Highway 37, and from Boy Lake Park's boat ramp. Camping. Organized camping is rather sparse in the great wilderness of the Northwest. Allen Lake Forest Service Recreation Site is a medium-sized campground located next to the town of Dease Lake, at the southern end of the lake. River rafting. If you're looking for an unforgettable wilderness adventure with stunning scenery and a land teeming with diverse wildlife, why not try a whitewater rafting expedition? River whitewater rafting in northern British Columbia. Recreation sites. A rough Forest Service road runs southwest from Dease Lake, skirts the Grand Canyon of the Stikine River, and connects with the must-see town of Telegraph Creek. A few miles downriver from Telegraph Creek is a trio of Forest Service recreation sites on the banks of the Stikine, Glenora, Winter Creek, and Jade Creek. Paddlers wishing to paddle the Stikine River can put in at Telegraph Creek, below the Grand Canyon of the Stikine, and kayak down to Stikine on the Alaska border, or continue on to Wrangell, Alaska in Alaska, where adventurers can take the Alaska Ferry service south to Prince Rupert. The latest customs policy prohibits the local float plane company from flying canoe parties back to BC from Wrangell, and US float planes cannot tie canoes on. Paddlers can arrange float plane pickup on the BC side of the border, or jet boat charter back out from either the border or Wrangell. The United States now requires all persons crossing the BC-Alaska border to go into Wrangell to clear US customs. Stikine River Provincial Park protects a geological feature unparalleled in Canada. 80 kilometers of steep-walled canyon, composed of sedimentary and volcanic rock, has been carved through eons of river erosion. In the bottom of this sometimes 300-meter deep chasm flows the wild and unnavigable Stikine River, which varies in width from 200 meters to as little as 2 meters at a point near the Tanzila and Stikine confluence. Horseback and float plane are the two most common modes of transportation into Mount Edziza Provincial Park, but you can also hike in. Jade Lake Trail leads 24 kilometers from the trailhead at Kinaskan Lake Provincial Park, but you'll need a boat to cross the Iskut River at the trailhead. Further north, at Iskut, the Clastline River Trail follows the Clastline River to Buckley Lake. From here, the trail hooks up with the Buckley Lake Trail that leads into the park from Telegraph Creek. A trail runs from Jade Lake west to Coffee Crater, and then north, where it hooks up with the Buckley Lake Trail, though trail is perhaps too strong a word, as these are unmarked, uncleared, undeveloped routes. From Jade Lake to Buckley Lake is approximately 60 kilometers. Expect to take 6 to 7 days to backpack in. Only experienced backcountry travelers should attempt these routes without an experienced guide. Spatsizi Plateau Wilderness Provincial Park is the second largest park in BC, at over 650,000 hectares. To get there, turn east off Highway 37 onto the Ialua Lake Road at Tatogda Lake. Follow the road for 22 kilometers, crossing the Clapan River, where it intersects the BC Rail Grade. The grade parallels the southwestern boundary of the park for 112 kilometers, and is rough but drivable for most vehicles. From here, the park must be accessed by foot, horseback, or canoe. The two trails that lead into the park, the Msewan Creek Trail and the Eagle Nest Creek Trail, follow well-marked routes and connect to a number of other trails. There are over 160 kilometers of trails in the park, with an old outfitters cabin available for public use at Cold Fish Lake. A worthwhile side trip from Dease Lake is a drive to the beautiful little community of Telegraph Creek, and the opportunity for a riverboat trip or tour on the Stikine River. Located on a terrace overlooking the Stikine River, one can step back in time in the Yukon gold rush town of Telegraph Creek, which gets its name from an overland telegraph line to the Yukon. Named for the jade deposits found to the east of the high community, Jade City is located on the Stewart-Cassar Highway, Highway 37, 2 hours south of Watson Lake near the British Columbia, Yukon border, an hour south of Boyle Lake Park, and 2 hours north of Dease Lake.